Hello guys and welcome to another P.A.B. FAQ support live session, stream, or whatever you want to call it. I really hope everyone can hear me well. And so if any one of you, not many today, not surprised, there's not good dates for making a live stream, everyone's with their families, or if they let you be with your families, that is, of course. So, now, everyone can hear me well? Good morning, Check and Dev Taylor. From Oregon. Nice. Okay, I suppose everyone is listening to me. This should be working. Yeah, Equitas made. Welcome. So, hey, Turke, greetings from Finland. Nice to see you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the stream. So, I need to put this in silence. My phone is ringing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, first of all, for the weird timing for the stream. This is not usually the time I used to make it, but sadly, this is the time I have available for me, as my wife and kid are with her family, and as I can join, this is the entertaining I'm having today. So, before we start with the questions, and please put them all your questions in the chat as I'm speaking now, because I have an announcement, and that is the for the first time I have accepted a sponsorship deal. I have been offered a lot of sponsorship deals, one that were obviously dodgy, and others that were legit, but that I didn't feel fitted the channel, or I didn't agree with the product. But I got contacted by Skillshare, and I really like what they make. I think they make a good product, and I think what they make, it's first of all good value, and second, useful for everyone. So I accepted the deal, and starting in January, February, and March, there will be 6 sponsored videos. So expect that. It will just be, you already know how sponsorship works with YouTube, so it will be just that. There will be a small short ad in between the video where I see fit, and while I do the ad, I will have a small screen showcasing me painting something, just as Scott from the Miniac channel does, as I really like that format. So expect that. With that out of the way, I wanted to start with a question that I got from Twitter. From Reddit, and this was from the user Soul Had to Go, and he asked, what is some advice you would like to give to a beginner? How did you develop your current skills? So I think that is a very good question. I think it's a very good question to start with. So first of all, beginners now are very lucky. You all have YouTube, which I am making content for, and others, hundreds of others, do great content for. And this is something that we obviously didn't have when I started painting, and it really makes a massive difference. So go to YouTube, watch videos, mine of course, but others too, and start with that. I honestly really like the Warhammer TV videos, especially the old ones. The new ones, well, some are hit miss, but that's what happens with time. Corporations sometimes have other plans that we don't, and well, they look for their interest, so that's that. But there are still some good videos there, and even if most of us don't like the super battle ready videos, they are really useful for people to start in, because most people don't know just how to pick a brush or how to base coat a model, and they are really fine videos and they work really well. I still remember the GW tutorials we used to have when when I was young in the White Dwarfs, and they were, well, they were way worse. If you ever had seen the meme of how to paint an owl, let's just draw 2 circles, and the next step is just finish the owl. Well, that would be something like that, but for miniatures. And I still remember a bare plastic goblin and a prime goblin. The next step will be just the base colors applied, and the next step will be heavy metal finish. So yeah, that used to be the kind of tutorials we used to have back in the day. So start with YouTube, watch a lot of videos, and just paint. Just try to copy what they are doing, even if it's way ahead of your current skill. Just trying to get better will get you better. It's the only way to be better, is to actively try to be better. So do that. That is my best advice. And second of all, again, step out of your comfort zone. Don't just do things you know to do well. So if you are comfortable doing something, don't do just that. Do lots of things. Do things that you don't feel comfortable with. So that will get you there. And with time, you will get to where you want. I'm 100% sure. As for how I developed my skills, well, with a lot of pain, because we didn't have good resources, and asking a lot of questions to people like me now. But in my case, it was a couple of guys in my local store. It's not a gaming store, it's just a modeling store, but I went there all the time, asked questions all the time, and they were first of all very good painters, and second of all very good people that had a lot of patience with me and answered all of my questions without asking anything in return. And they are part of the reason why I have a channel now in where I help people without asking anything in return, because I feel that is what I should do, given that is what it was done with me. So that question out of the way. Oh, I just want to I just want to add a pointer to that question. If you ever find something that just doesn't click with you, just stop doing it. Don't try to do it. If you try and fail, and it's getting frustrating, just don't do it. For example, I don't know how to wet blend. I've tried it. It just doesn't click for me. So I just moved on and started glazing, and that worked like a charm. And I'm really happy with it. So don't feel obliged to try and master all of the techniques. Just pick whatever works for you and try different things. But that's it basically. So let's see the chat here, how we're going. Perfect. Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas to all of you, or whatever festivity you prefer. I won't judge. My dear friend Javi is asking, what has the fat man in red brought you? Any miniature, or did you behave badly? Actually, no, I was very lucky, but we don't have Santa Claus here. We are in the Basque Country, so we here we have another figure that is called Olenchero, and it's just a similar myth. It's just a coal miner that goes from the mountains to leave presents to the children and coal to the children that haven't behaved correctly. So yeah, but yeah, I had actually new headphones, which I didn't have, and it has been a revelation to edit videos with that than my last video, the Christmas special, but you can go watch in the channel, as not many people have done. But Christmas specials always perform badly because of the dates, and the sound should be improved, because I just realized there is a slight hiss in the background of my sound usually, and I got rid of it thanks to the headphones. So go watch it. Okay, next question. Alan Young says, Merry Christmas for Singapore, Merry Christmas. Watching your video has really helped me to understand contrast paints and painting my novel Marines. Great, that's fantastic. Run with scissors asking, you may not need them, but did you back the Scale 75 mini PDF books on Kickstarter? I think it's still available to back for those who want to back it. No, I didn't. I just personally, first of all, I don't really like Scale 75 paints very much. Nothing to do with nothing personal. It's just I don't see much benefit in using them. I'm really happy with my own paint. I have a few, and some of them seems to be more of a hassle than something beneficial, so I don't really care. And second, I personally, this is something personal, I don't like painting books. So I bought a few a long time ago, and I never liked them, so it's nothing. There is nothing for me there. But if you feel that is a resource that it will be useful for you, of course, feel free to back it. Seems like a good product. They always make good books. I'm not into painting books. I could ask, would you ever do a Horus Heresy painting series? I won't do a painting series anymore. The Marines was the only full series that I made and that I will ever do. But I will paint some Horus Heresy minis, of course. In fact, one of my patrons has sent me a Solar Auxilia that I think is really good looking minis, and I will paint that soon in the channel. So expect a Solar Auxilia painting tutorial very soon. And if I ever feel like it, I will paint more, but 100% sure not Marines, as I have moved on from Space Marines. I don't wish to paint any more Space Marines for the Heavy Contrast series. Sorry. Scott Tumble asks, do you have an airbrush, and if so, how can an airbrush work with contrast paints and all your methods? Cheers and Merry Christmas from Australia. I don't own an airbrush, sorry. We don't get along well together. For some reason, I just prefer my brush. But if you watch Vince Venturella channel, he has several videos of using contrast paint with an airbrush. They basically work like a filter, and they work really well like a filter. So I would use them to paint tanks, because I think that is the way to go to paint tanks with contrast paints. I will just base coat them with Wraithbone or whatever color you use for your army, and then just do a very smooth layer of the contrast paint of choice over that, and then just highlight and shade that, because that won't provide you any shade. You will have probably go into all the panels with I know, maybe oil paints or to make it faster, and just reach a shade and then highlight all the edges. That would work really well. But yeah, through the airbrush, I've heard I've heard and I've seen like they work like a charm. Just don't expect the contrast effect of highlights and shades in one go. You use an airbrush, because that won't work, obviously. Yeah, Ram with Sisters, which asked the question about the books, says he likes physical media and learning from books personally. So that's perfectly valid. Each person learns differently, and that is it's very important to understand how you learn better and what works for you and what doesn't. Not everyone learns in the same way, or at the same rate, or the same things as easy. So learning what works for you and what is useful for you and what's your learning process is very important, I believe. I try to make my videos in a way that I find the most useful for me. That's my main goal here, is to try and teach you in a way that I would like to have had videos back then, and that's what I do basically. Yep. So again, if you have any more questions, just pop them in the chat. Don't be shy. I won't bite you. And in the meantime, before more questions pop up, because otherwise I feel this would be a very short stream, I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk about the future videos for the channel. So I have 3 or 4 videos planned now. First one, which is already glued into the holder, is a box walker, because this is the free model from the GW store. It was supposed to be a Plague Marine, but they ran out, which I thought was convenient because I wasn't going to paint another Plague Marine. So they offered me a box walker, and I took it, and I'm going to paint it for the channel. That will be probably not the first video of the next year, because that will come in the 1st of January, and it will be a lazy filler video about me painting about me painting a snow base for the Santa Christmas Special Mini, which I have already recorded. It's not a very good video, but it will fill the gap. And this will be the next one. This will be the first sponsored video, and it will be coming in the second week of January. So that out of the way, the next video, I'm not sure if I'm going to make another Tyrannid. I have another Termagant here, which I am going to paint. I already know how I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint it High Fleet Behemoth, but I'm not going to paint it in the current High Fleet Behemoth color scheme, because I think it's boring. And as I started with second edition Warhammer 40k, I'm going to paint it in the second edition Warhammer 40k color scheme. So red body, bone carapace, and green bright wind weapons with purple inner parts, let's just say. So that will be fun. And then I have a little tree people. I always forget the names of these AOS minis. Yeah, he's from the I really can't remember the name. Oh, Sylvaneth. Yeah, he's a Sylvaneth. Thank you, Nicholas. Nicholas always helping. Yes, that is my Sylvaneth. He's one of the guys from the Underworld's Warband, because I find the Underworld's Warband are fantastic to just get a couple of minis for tutorials. So I will paint him in a very box standard color scheme. And the order, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Tyrannid first or the Sylvaneth first. And I also plan to do a video on painting pink power swords, which I think is really interesting. And I have the second member from my Yandan kill team here, and I'm really excited about painting him too. So let's see if there are any more questions here. Sugar Case asking, are you going to do a Harlequin? Yes, I will do a Harlequin, because I really like elves of any kind, and I sorry, and the initial plan for the contrast, heavy contrast series is to paint at least one of each faction. So yeah, I will paint a Harlequin. When? I'm not sure. I don't have a long-term plan. I just go with the flow, basically. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your surname. Alex is asking, paint with effect paint, flip-flop colors, mirror paints. Well, they are a neat trick, especially the chameleon or shifting paints. I think they look good for the tabletop. I wouldn't use them for display painting. If I want to paint a color shifting armor, I will just paint the color shifting armor in traditional paints, and I paint the shift myself, what I want it and what I want it to be. Same goes for mirror finish like chrome paints and all of that. If you see the last P.A.B painting masters, about painting busts and historical minis, and if they have armor, they just paint it like a mirror, but with traditional paints, and it looks amazing. So I will just do that if it was for display, but again, for an army, it's very different. So if you like it, give it a try. It's fantastic. Why not? It's just not for me. I just prefer to paint things the hard way. I could ask asking, would you do a tutorial on vehicles or terrain pieces? I highly doubt it. I don't like to paint large things, and vehicles are large, so it's just not for me. Norman Peterson asking, speaking of elves, any chance we get to see your high elf army? Not necessarily as a tutorial. I love your content, and I really made progress from it. Maybe when I finish the army, if I ever finish it, because I have no time to paint my armies since I'm making videos, I probably will make a showcase video, because it's going to be, I hope it's going to be quite a thing of beauty, but it will take a long time. I remember my Little Men took 5 years to complete, and these are about the same level of quality, so yeah. And now I have less time to paint, so probably it will take a long time. I have a lot of projects, and the army, since I cannot play anymore, is not a priority for me. Coraxis S asks, what's your favorite 2020 GW Mini? Oh, that's a good question. From 2020. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I've painted a few. In terms of what I've painted, it will have to be my Dire Avenger Exarch. And in terms of what GW has made, it's a hard question. I mean, they all look they are nice, but I haven't seen any that I really liked. I really like the female Katashan Surgeon. I think that was great, and I actually painted for the channel. And I really like the Sandria Surbolt mini that came with the Conquest magazine. That was fantastic. Sam Orange, one of my members. You see how fancy that icon and green name looks. It's asking top 5 minis. For me, from all time, it will have to be number 1, the Green Knight. Number 2 will have to be the Green Knight. Number 3 will have to be the Green Knight. And number 4, the Green Knight. And number 5, it will be the Green Knight. Yeah, that mini is just awesome. It's one of those all-time great minis. Yeah, so, and joking aside, I basically like everything elf and everything Bretonian, so I could fill the list with either of those very easily. So pick and choose, but it's really hard to just name 5, so I will have to say the Green Knight. That's always the good answer. Have you thought about making some videos, Norman Peterson again, some videos for the cities, different cities of Sycamore groups, for instance, Wanderers, Free Peoples, etc.? Yeah, I have another army waiting to be painted, which is an old Empire army, so expect some Free People there. And yes, if they keep making the minis, I will probably paint them at some point. So yeah, and again, slowly, because I have a lot of things to paint. There are a lot of armies and a lot of factions, and obviously everyone wants their faction to be first or next, but I just move to what I have. So I bought a bunch of Underworld's warbands because they are very convenient. So I just painted one of the Caradron Overlords because my patrons voted for for that one to go first. And then I have again the Sylvaneth, I have the Goblins, and I have a couple more boxes, and I will go painting those. And as soon as the Lizardman or Seraphon box warband drops, I will assure you I will buy that and paint it. First of all, for my army, probably as characters, but I will keep 1 or 2 minis depending on what they are to paint for the channel in a heavy contrast style, because my army is older than the contrast paint, so they are painted in other ways, and I want to keep with the theme. And it looks like they will be mostly skinks by the looks of it. So I'm really happy with it because my army is a full 100% skink army. No Saurus allowed in my Lizardman army. JJ San, un saludo también. He is webbing me from Japan. Nice. Alan Presunian, what kind of resin is your favorite? I don't know what you're talking about. If you talk about materials, as long as it's not one of those cheap brittle resins, I'm okay with it. I really like the Mantic resin, the resin they're using to make their good quality minis. It's fantastic resin. It's really good to work with. It's quite bendable, and it won't break easily. I have one here actually, so I'm going to show it to you. This is the resin they are working with, and even in the thin details, like these swords here, they are really easy to bend and they don't break, so that's fantastic. I really like it. It's also apparently solvent resistant, so it won't degrade as fast as the others when you are trying to strip them of paint if you ever make a mistake. And if you're talking about all the type of resin, like 3D printing resin, I have no favorites of that. Seeing as you like the elves, what's a GWF model that you have been trying to find but haven't been able to? Well, most of the high elf heroes of the latest heroes, because they are, for some reason, they are really scarce now, and I didn't bought them back in the day because I was poor, because I was a child basically. So when I went back into the hobby, I just started collecting again. But I started with my main armies, which again are Lizardmen and Bretonnians, and I left the high elves bit forgotten, and then I started collecting them not long ago. But of course, most of the minis are now out of production, so all of those heroes are really hard to find. All these special characters, basically. Which Coraxis asks, which GW faction are you hoping gets a rework next? I'm hoping to get more 40k. Well, that's a good question too. I will have to think about that for a while. But I would really like, well, I don't have to think about that too much. I would like a new Imperial Guard plastic kit, which with options for all the regiments, of course, not just Cadians. That would be awesome. Yeah. Imperial Guard was my first love well, it was Eldar, but then it was Imperial Guard, and especially Talon Desert Raiders. So I really hope they make a kit that will allow us to customize all our Imperial Guard models into whatever fits. Yeah, Krieg, funny enough, I have some Krieg to paint. I have some Krieg that I managed to get second hand, and I will strip them and paint for the channel at least one of them. So expect a Krieg tutorial too, and I hope that will be popular, because I plan to paint a whole kill team of them, a competitive list in terms of it will be just Imperial Guard, of course, or Astra Militarum, or whatever you want to call them, and I will paint them to a high standard, and I will sell them because I don't play GW games, but I like to paint cool stuff, and that sounds like a fun project to paint and then sell and get a bit of money. So awesome. By the way, I've already said it, but everything you see in the Heavy Contra series, once it's done, it's for sale. So if you are interested in any of the minis, just send me an email or contact me through social media, and you will be able to get one of those minis for you shipped. Just as a note, all the Space Marines are already sold, so don't ask for those, sorry. But Heather got them all. Well, the camera is misbehaving a little bit. It doesn't like my face, apparently. It prefers to focus on my weird stuff in the background, all the things I use to make jokes in the interest of the channel. I think he prefers that over me. Oh yeah, my good friend and patron Gomezara is asking, what are your plans for 2021? Any big goal or painting projects for the channel and personal? Well, I've talked about that not long ago, but first of all, personal projects. One is to paint an Ijandan kill team, and that it will be done because I love elves, and I'm not sure I will sell them. Maybe not. And then I also want to paint a Krieg kill team. Again, those will be for sale at some point in the future. And then I will just want to finish my Golden Demon entry or entries for whenever GW decides we will be able to take part again. So expect that. Not in the channel because I can't paint at level with the camera. For those that you don't know, painting with a camera is really hard. It's not comfortable and it takes a lot of effort, and I just can't get into a comfortable enough position that I can paint that kind of level with ease. So I just prefer not to mess around with that. JJ San is asking, okay, it's asking if I know Hero Forge, if I've seen plenty of those minis, and if I think they are good quality. They are 3D printed models, and if you're going to get one, get the highest quality resin available, so the most expensive of the resin options, because I believe the lower quality ones, the detail is not great, but others may help you. I haven't bought any one, but they offer a good service. That's all I know, and a lot of people enjoy them. So, and Norman asking, any good Christmas present? Just one, my new headphones. So yeah, I'm really happy with those. Nicholas asking, another of my members, how does the Fire Extra is going? It's going well. I have painted half of his head, the front of the torso, and both arms, both upper part of the arms, and the forearm of this arm. So not much, but it's going slowly. And I had to take out the banner temporarily because I can't reach the other side of the face comfortably, so I just took it off, and it's now pinned and ready to be glued again once I finish it and the lower and the other side of the head. So slowly but surely. Okay, Derek Abner is asking, do you build your army for looks or meta? That is a good question. I build armies, well, that depends really. First of all, I don't play GW games, so that is something that this may not relate to you 100% if you are asking about the GW meta, but I play Kings of War and I play Dead Zone. Those are the only games I play, and they fill all the gaps in my play-in hole. Let's just say it. That sounds really bad. Yeah, I just said that in a live stream, but yeah. So what I do with my Kings of War armies, especially because I really, they are all old fantasy armies. So what I do is I build the army first in my mind. I make a list of what units I want to have, because I build them thematically. For example, my listmen are all skink units. So I build my list of what I want, and then I try to make of what units and minis I want to have in my army, because what I like is painting them, and playing them is secondary, but it's also fun. And once I have all the minis, then I try to make the best list I can. Same happens with my Bretonnians. The Bretonnians were always a peasant army. I only had one unit of knights because it was mandatory, and the rest were all peasants. And what I did was build the army with the minis I wanted, and then try to make the best list I could. And funny enough, the Bretonnians were unbeaten by the time I stopped playing, so it was a really good army. And I do the same with all my armies. I make a list, then I buy the army, and then I paint it. I always plan my armies fully and then commit to that list 100%. I did that with my undead, which are all new minis, because I wanted an undead army, and I wanted to make for Kings of War, and I want to make it as competitive and as nasty as possible, because all my other armies were very thematic, and these were also thematic. They were as a Wraith, spectral inspired army, and I tried to make them as nasty and as competitive as possible, and I think I made a good job there, and it was really fun to paint too. So yeah, it's a mix. So I think about the list, but my main goal is having the minis that I want to paint in the army. And I also always commit to the list that I've made and never stray from it, because otherwise you will never finish ever. But then again, Kings of War is a very easy game to work that way, because lists don't change that much from one edition to the other, and you have all your army list in the main rulebook, so you don't have to go around buying lots of books and whatever. So yeah, that was a good question, by the way. Thank you. The Only Hamster asks, how long have you been at this game? I started painting and collecting models with 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy. So whatever that, I got that for Christmas, the same year it got released. So that was my start. And before that, I just have seen a bit of Necromunda and 2nd edition Warhammer 40k from a friend, which is the one who introduced me into this world. So yeah, a long time, with a gap in the middle, because a gap in the middle of your painting career is mandatory, apparently. Gometharius is maybe a time lapse could do. No, he's asking if maybe a time lapse would be better from that. The main problem is the angle I have to put my body and my hands in order to get into camera. Did you see? I don't have a 4K camera. That's also a problem. My camera only gets, well, it can record 4K, but it does so without the autofocus, so it just makes it absolutely impossible to use. So once I get a 4K camera, I will probably be able to record those kind of videos, because I will be able to just crop digitally into the image without having me to put the model just directly underneath the camera. So that will be useful. So maybe if Canon releases an affordable, good 4K camera, I will buy it. For now, that's not the case. I have the money ready, so once they decide to give that camera a go, I will do so. And I have to be Canon because all my lenses are Canon, so I prefer not to buy more lenses. George Senior, love to see you paint orc flesh. Any plans? Yes, I have an orc ready to be painted too. Again, along with a bunch of other models, but yeah, orcs are in the way. Sam Orange is asking something that I've been thinking about, which is, what do you think about doing reviews of members' paint jobs like the P&P series has? I really like that idea. I've been giving it a thought, and it's probably coming soon as another live stream, just as Vince does, because I think it's a good idea to fill content and create views and also interact with the audience, which I love. So I still have to think how I want to do it, but yeah, I would really like to do that. Norman asks, dioramas, anything you have ever attempted? What are some good dioramas you have seen? For instance, the Darren Latham Tyrion vs. Tarkov one is amazing. I'm not really good at making dioramas. I'm making one, funny enough, for God and Demon, because that's a project that I'm making. So I may do a video about it at some point. I'm not sure, but I'm not the person to go for dioramas, sorry. There are far better people out there. I'm just a single minis guy, but I will make one. Brian Mercado is asking, where did the Santa Dwarf come from? Stunning work on the model. It's a Christmas special, a Christmas limited edition model from GW. It's called Jacob Bookmanson 11, and I believe is not longer for sale. It was a limited model, as they always do for the Christmas, and well, always, at least a couple of years that I've been doing this. I did the red gobo in my previous Christmas special, and I did the dwarf for this one, and I will do the whatever mini they decide to release for 2021. I will do it in Christmas. Adrian Millan asks, do you think they will produce new old Warhammer models, taking that the video games are such a success? They are making an old world game, but I think it won't be what people is expecting it to be. I think GW is clever than that, and it won't make a game that you can use your old models with, because that makes absolutely no money. So I 100% believe it will be something different, or something that will be not compatible with Warhammer Fantasy in any way. That's my thought on it, so we will see what comes out of it. I'm sure about a couple of things. Many people don't share this, but I'm 100% sure they won't be square bases. I might be wrong, of course. This is just my opinion, and I believe either the scale will be different, which I for some reason doubt, or the setting will be so different that the old models just don't fit in. So we will see. But apart from that, I think we can expect more Middle Hammer style, Middle Hammer inspired minis for Age of Sigmar, as they did with the Goblins. Because if you see the Goblin release, it's basically a Middle Hammer army with new models, but still they all look very Warhammer Fantasy, and I think that is something they will keep doing because it has very good success. Iquitas is talking about gaps What is easy getting back? Was it easy getting back to where you left off? Yeah, it it actually was, because thank you to Duncan and all the Warhammer TV crew. You may not believe this, but when I get back to the hobby, I did so because I was curious about painting, and just um, search for those videos on YouTube, and they came out. And they were my inspiration, and I started watching those videos. I devoured them all and kept watching more painting videos until I just decided it was time to get back to painting again. So yeah, thanks to all the resources we have now, I think it's pretty easy. Norman asks, my girlfriend and I have been discussing the hobby and how there is a majority of men in it. Thoughts on this? For instance, how welcoming it is as a woman to do Warhammer attend to a local store. That is, that is a good topic. Especially we have Heather here, so she will have some insight into that. I'm guessing. But yeah, I'm not a woman, so I've never experienced some of that. So let's just say I could be privileged in that sense. But I've seen what, not maybe now, but what would usually happen when a girl or a woman, especially a young girl, walked into a hobby or a Warhammer store back in the early noughties or late 90s, and it wasn't nice. Let's just say that it was it was it was a bit cringe-worthy. So I could see how back then that would be a problem, but now luckily we see a lot more women getting into the hobby, and think that is fantastic. And I'm really happy to see more female painters popping up, and they some of them, of course, like everyone else, there's a bit good and medium and bad painters, but they are painting and they are playing, and it's amazing. So that is a very interesting topic, actually, and I think it's a topic that it's getting better. But of course, there is still a majority of males into the hobby, and I'm not entirely sure if that is because of the community, or it's because it is a hobby that, generally speaking, it doesn't entice women as much as other hobbies do, which can also be. We don't know. I'm not sure about that, and that's as much as I will say. I would love to have as many women in a hobby as possible. I think it's fantastic to see. But yeah, I remember it wasn't a hobby store, but it was a trading card game tournament that I attended. It was the only one I've ever attended, and I distinctly remember walking in and being hit in the face by the foulest smell I've ever experienced in my life. It was absolutely horrid. The level of filth and let's just say people there, most of the people there haven't seen a shower in probably a couple of weeks. So yeah, I could understand how back then a woman walking into such a place would just turn away and just walk away, because there's no point in having that smell in your nose for that long. Sam asks, have you tried the stippling technique? And follow-up question, any advice on how to fix a bent brush tip? If your brush tip bends, that's because it's synthetic brush, and synthetic brushes bend. That's what they do. That's why synthetic brushes are, well, not the best brushes in the world. I don't use synthetic brushes, so I may not be able to help, but I remember someone saying that if you boil your Now, if you boil your brush, if you have some pot of boiling water and you dip your brush into the tip of your brush into it, it will the plastic of the bristles will soften and it will straight up again. So try that. And as for stippling, I haven't tried it. It's something that I want to try and I will do in the future, but I'm very lazy and it sounds like such a time-consuming technique to do. But I will try it. It's one of those things that I just need to try. Gavin Garth is here, fantastic painter. If you haven't seen anything, look at him in Instagram. He's fantastic. Yeah, Heather says they've been really welcoming, and Madeleine Muse said the female presence on Insta seems to be either those like myself who post pics of models or cats, or XX Gamer Princess XXX who posts good paint job but practically with their babs out. Yeah, that I think most of the female streamers and such kind of people don't really help the female cause in the hobby quite a lot, because they are just catering to that neckbeard audience and making no favor to all of us in the long run, I believe. But yeah, people here talking about female have pointed out Lila Meth. She is fantastic. She makes great videos, so if you're interested in seeing a female perspective, that would be probably one of the best out there making content for all of us. And it's really good content. I usually seen ladies in my local friendly store. I think it's pretty normal nowadays. And I do agree. We don't have a large gaming stores here, but when I went to London, there were quite a lot of female there. It was Dark Sphere, and it was great. Yeah, I know. Normal is Francois is saying that the blue feather in the background is taking all the focus from me. Yeah, if it shifts again, it should be now corrected. If it shifts again, I will just remove that feather from there. It's just too distracting for the camera for some reason. It should be face tracking, but it clearly likes that feather better than my face. Follow up, any good female painters that you can recommend? A lot. I'm not very good with names, either female or male, but there are quite a lot. Sorry about not being able. I can only remember one Spanish painter called Patricia, and she's amazing. I will try to look for her Insta and post it later on. Let me see if I can find it and post it to you. So she's really one of the best painters you will ever see. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I would. That should be it. Follow her. She is absolutely amazing. Yeah, math. Philip John Bryan is noting note towards Hero Forge. Printed resin is super fragile in comparison to cast resin and plastic. Yes, that is true. So if you order a Hero Forge Mini, please be aware that it's a delicate thing and it's not it's not as durable as plastic or any other gaming miniature. It will be fragile. Yeah, Heather Amstead is pointing another female painter, Minimec, does great stuff. Yeah, she is amazing. Again, I'm really bad with names, so. Yeah. A lot of people loving the blue here. Yeah. Feel free to post any other female painter names and I will check them all out if I don't follow them already. That would be awesome. Oh yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. Sam is pointing Savage Orc Guy at Instagram. She's absolutely amazing. I think she works for GW and some kind of job, and she's absolutely a stunning painter. Norman, writing to community engagement, have you thought about having some paint-along sessions with some way their participants to share their work live with you painting? Maybe. There's a lot of things that are in my mind, but the problem is I don't really have that much time. I usually record videos when everyone here is asleep because I have a small kid, and small kids demand attention, and once the kid is asleep, my wife also wants some attention, obviously. So I paint usually starting about 11 and a half on the night, past 11:30 in the night, and paint about 1:30 in the morning while recording videos. So that's not a very friendly, and I'm usually really tired and I don't want to be, I just want to get on with the painting as fast as possible so I can go to sleep and repeat the same the next day until I have all the video recorded. So sorry. Maybe at some point, maybe if this grows enough that I can that is starting to be too much money for me to ignore, but for the time being, this is it. I'm happy just to making videos. Don Booth, thanks for my comment on my Aurora Gravis Captain. By the way, I mean, I love to shoot the comment. If you tag me on a post on social media, I usually always answer or try to answer or try to give compliments. What I said this about some time ago. What I won't do is do like full feedback on anything because I just don't have the time. It's not that I don't appreciate it, it's I really don't have the time. It's I really receive a lot of emails and questions about that, and it would be too time consuming. So if you're interested in full feedback, I said it, there is Patreon and channel members, then all of them have access to my Discord server. If you're interested, just join it. It's $2. It's really cheap, and you will get lifetime access to my Discord. And I usually answer there more because I have a good time answering their questions if I have time. Again, I'm really having a lot of work lately, so my energy level is not as high as it used to be. Mauricio is asking, what is your opinion about the community of paint and war games in the world? You think it will grow with this health problem? Well, I think it's great, and I think it's growing, and I think it will go larger and larger. I think it's getting mainstream attention lately, and that is great. The more people that join this hobby, the better. Despite what many gatekeepers like to say, the more people joining, the better the hobby will be for all of us. And I don't believe in gatekeeping, and I don't think it's a good thing to be doing. So, thank you, D. Hoffman. It really is a very nice Discord server. We have a lot of fun there. It's a bit chaotic, but that's how I do things. It's not structured. There are very few rules. Just basically don't be a dick. Don't be nice to other people. Or if you are a dick, at least be Polish and not and just do it for the fun, not just being a dick for the sake of being a dick. But yeah, we all love you, Barry. Yeah, Heather knew exactly who I was referring to. Yeah, our local Polish troll. Really nice guy. He's just he's just Barry. So Norman as having recently been put on lockdown here in Denmark, I have found myself struggling to paint or do anything. How has this affected you? Not really. I've been painting more and more and more. My main issue is I only had like about 2 weeks of lockdown, and it was voluntary lockdown because I work alone. So I don't have a shop. I have a shop. It's a workshop, but it's not open to the public. So I could just work. Most of my sales come from internet and that kind of stuff. So I could just work, but I decided for the safety of my family to the 2 worst weeks, I just stopped working and stay at home. And for the rest of the time, I've been working normally. That's why I don't go to see my political family, because I'm a person of risk, and the less risks they have, the better. So yeah. But I've been painting a lot. It's been painting more and more and more, and having a lot of fun. So the thing is, as Pins usually says, I'm too addicted to this to just stop or have any motivational issues. This is too addictive for me. So I really hope that answered your question. But if you're having trouble, what I think works best is just to sit down. Just sit down and try to paint something. Try to, maybe not something big. Sit down with an objective, a simple one. Just sit down and say, well, I'm going to base coat the boots on these minis. Simple color, maybe black. Maybe I will touch up this spray base coat that is patchy. Those kind of things, those easy tasks. Or maybe I'm going to paint all the metal swords in this unit, or whatever. And sit down and just do that. Force yourself to do that. And I 100% assure you that the next time you realize, you will have painted for hours without even noticing. So yeah, it's just the hardest part is usually just sitting down and taking the brush out. So that's usually what works. It's just to force yourself to sit down and paint something simple. Yeah, Fireside Storyteller said the issue I run into is that I reach a point it can get better, but it's not worth the hassle. Well, that can be true. That the thing with painting is you need to think what you want to achieve. So painting for me is not the goal. It's more about the painting process than it's just getting something done. So I really enjoy taking my time with my minis, but for other people, that may not be the case. So your case will be that you are perfectly okay, just painting for a unit that looks just okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you need to decide, what do you want to achieve, what level you want the minis to be, and if that is okay with you or not. So and you are the only one that can answer that question. Not everyone has to paint display. Some people just want to play with not plastic minis, which you should do. Well, it seems like we have been here for 1 hour and 6 minutes. So if you want to put oh, that's a real hat. That is not a filter. That's a real hat. So if you want to ask any more questions, just put the last round of questions down. And if not, I will just end up these live streams. As always, been a real pleasure to having you here. We are at 47 now, which is fantastic, more than what I expected to have in these dates, which are not easy. Most people are not next to their own computers and so on. Yeah, as Heather has pointed out, she is doing 14 Necron warriors to an alright standard, and she's saving her time for the characters, and that's perfectly valid. Fantastic. thank you, since everyone is okay now, so and it's happy, so no more questions. So thank you everyone that's been here. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and have the best day possible. Just enjoy your holidays as much as you can, or as much as well they are letting you. And I will catch you again in the next year. Yeah. Oh, one more question. So I will just answer that question and I will end the stream. So Tom is asking, how would you do the blue of your skins with contrast? That's a good question. I don't think I can make the exact same color. That's why I'm not painting mine for my army with contrast. But I think probably a thematic blue over Gracier would be a good start, and then working from there. Probably some Achillean green in the recess shade, and then just highlighting it. I think that will be the first thing I will try for my army once I get the new minis. So yeah, I will try to do that to replicate my army color scheme. Oh, thank you all, and again, it's been a pleasure to have you here. And as always, stay safe. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next live stream, which will be in January, of course, 2021. Not sure when I have the time. I wish I could make this a regular thing, but I can't. But I will still make this once a month, so stay tuned. And I'll catch you in the next video, which will be the Lazy Flair episode about painting snow bases, coming the 1st of January. So, bye.